Hello, this is Tux J Smith from Log Farm. I'm going to show you how to use the wobbegong level designer. So let's get to it. The wobbegong directory is on my desktop, so we cd desktop. Yeah, thank you. We type Java, we cd to the level designer, type Java jar -jar level designer. In this case I'm going to put $1 on the end because sorry, not $1, an ampersand on the end, because I want to reuse the command prompt after I've launched the level designer. And there it is, there's the level designer. First of all, we're just going to do a quick and dirty demonstration of how to create the simplest of maps. So we click on the top right, the top button on the tools bar, and we just add 4 blocks on the map. We tap the green button to save wobbegong level as file, and we make the file name start map with a capital M. That's because the wobbegong XMP client by default looks for a file called startmap.wob, and we push save. The .wob will automatically be added by the level designer. Right, that's been saved. Come back to the command prompt, back up a level. Java -jar start that up, and when it starts we will see those blocks. Where are they? Use your arrow keys to move around the map. Forward arrow moves you up, the up arrow moves you forward, back arrow moves you back, the left and right rotate, and if we rotate, there they are, look, our blocks. The S and D key move you, slide you left and right. G key makes you jump. The left and right shift look up and down, and the spacebar fires a cannonball or 2. None of these blocks have physics because we haven't set them to have physics yet. We can walk through them and they won't interact with us or the cannonball. So let's go and give them physics quickly. Back to the level designer. Right click on a block, you'll see it gets highlighted with a magenta outline. That's just to show you that we are which block we're currently editing. This physics checkbox, tap that, tap the commit button. The block also now gains a little white square in the top left hand corner, just to show it no longer has the default values. We've made a change there. It hasn't been saved yet, we haven't saved the map, but they are in memory as far as the map designer goes. Those changes have been made. So if we do that to all of them, so I right click on a block, hit physics, commit, and oh, I just accidentally added another block. We'll just leave it there, why not, and close. I'll show you how to get rid of blocks in a second. We tap the green key to save, the green button on the top right hand corner. It's now been saved. We go back to the wobbegong client, tap F5 just like you would on a web browser to refresh the page, but we're refreshing our map, and now when we shoot something or several things, they move. They now interact with our cannonball and us. Now here's a trick. If you hold the face a block, hold the E key down, you get this move thing. You can bulldoze objects by holding the E key down and then moving forward or back. And it's good for getting you out of, if you're stuck in a maze or something, or the enemy's behind you and you can't get out of a map, you can bulldoze your way out. Right, back to the level designer. how do we get rid of those blocks? We don't want those blocks, that's not what we want. You can do it a couple of ways. You can go the very bottom, there's this blank button with no symbol on it. You tap that and it offers to create a new level, and that will wipe everything off. That will get rid of all your objects. Forget that, we don't want to do that. Control Z will remove the last block you just added, and that's all it does. Just removes the last block. There's no longer any blocks in memory, and when you save you'll just have an empty map again. We are going to create a map that looks like this. We've got 4 blocks in each corner, and then there's this castle in the middle that's got 4 towers. So that's a rough sketch of what our map is going to look like. So let's minimize that. I tap the tall object block at the top there and stick it 2 from the left, 2 from the top. Click the right click on it, get our properties window up, and here width, height, depth, we're going to set that to 3 width, 3 wide, 3 deep and 1 high. Hit enter and your commit button becomes enabled, and we now have this 3 by 3 by 1 block. Let's do that 4 times. I'm going to do that on the right here. Because we just added 3 by 3, 3, 1, 3, it's now in the list, so we don't have to type it again. We can just select it, click commit, do it down at the bottom. Bottom left, commit, bottom right, commit. Now I'm going to highlight this top one again, and I'm just going to jog it left to get it up lovely in line with all the grid. I'm going to do the same with the other one just to keep things symmetrical. And this one down here needs to be 2 from the bottom, 2 from the right, so we move it up a bit. There we go, down. We don't have to commit this because any movement, any XY movement we make is automatically saved in computer memory, so we don't have to commit it. It's pretty much the only thing you don't have to commit is when you shunt something around. Right, there you go. Let's see what that looks like. A quick way of saving what we've just done is F2. Because we know what the file name is, it's called start map. Just push F2 and it will save the file. It doesn't prompt you for a file name. Right, up to the top, back to the wobbegong client. F5, just like a web browser, to reload the map. And now we have these big blocks in corners. You'll notice though there's a heck of a lot of other map area unused. Well, if we go back to the level designer, this red square on the right here represents the map area, and we are only editing within that grey square. So if I push the left arrow, you can see that cursor, I call it, is the area of the map that we're actually editing. And so just move it back to the center again where our blocks are. You can use your mouse wheel to move up and down as well. Just get it roughly symmetrical. There we go. Now we're going to create our castle in the middle, and the way I'm going to do that is going to use the same block tool. I'm going to put 4 of them there and there, like that. These are going to be our towers. Right off the bat, I'm just going to give everything 1 by 1. So type 1 by 1 by 1, and that makes it a cube, doesn't it? I'm just going to jog it into position. If I select each of these others, because we've already typed it in, we've already got this 1 by 1 by 1. Just select it for each of them. Got some cubes. I'm just going to line them up, make sure they line up with each other. And down, and as you might expect, what I'm going to do is push F2 to save, and then go back to the level, back to the client, and push F5 to see what our changes look like. Now we've got these 4 blocks in the middle, and the big blocks on the outside. So these are our towers, but you can see they're not tall enough. We need to make them twice as high. So I'll right click on our towers, and the width and the depth are fine, 1 by 1, but we want to make it 2 in the middle, 2 high. Push enter, the commit key becomes available, and now they're 2 high. So I'm going to do that to each of them. I don't have to retype it because we've got it. It's 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 1. We still don't have physics on any of these boxes, but it's a good idea to make your map first and then give them physics. Okay, just from experience I've learned this. We come back to our map, see what it looks like. We saved that, didn't we? Push F2 just to save, and then we hit F5 on the client. Oh dear, our boxes are underground. We don't want them there, we want them on top of the ground. What's happened is, because we've elongated them, the game has stretched them down and up. We need to tell the game that you need to move them up a bit, so we give them some elevation. We right click on there, and we've got an elevation value here. Let's give it an elevation of 1. All of them, elevation of 1. Because we've given it a height of 2, we now need to give them an elevation, because it's stretched them, it's made them that high, but it's put half of it under the ground. That's no good. We need to move it up now. Move it upward. An elevation of 1. Commit. Elevation of 1. Commit. Have they all got it? Have I done it? Yes, 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 yes. Now if we push F2 again, just to save, go back to the client, push F5 to reload. Where are we? We're at 12 minutes. Now, there they are. Shall I just create one wall? I'll create a wall and then do some pausing just to speed things up a bit. Right, so now they're above ground and they're at the ground level. That's where we want them. So now we're going to create the walls. So we've got these different tools. For convenience, we've got this vertical tool and we've got this horizontal block, a vertical block and a horizontal block. So I've just selected the horizontal block, and I'm going to put one there, 2, 3, 4, and I'm just going to shunt them up together using this jog. Where are we? Down. Oh, and I'll point this out quickly. What's happened is, down here, elevation 1, because when I make my maps, you add a lot of objects, but you don't want to keep changing. You might add one object, make all the changes, that's great, add another object. You don't want to re-add all the changes again. So for many of the values, it keeps the previous block you just added, or its values. So you just have to keep that in mind. So these blocks don't want to be 1 up, they don't want an elevation of 1, they want an elevation of 0. And that's just been caused because these square towers had an elevation of 1, and that was the last object I added before I added these wall blocks. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, it's not a problem to edit them, is it? Shut that left. Oh, don't forget to push the commit button, which is what I'm doing here. Commit. And they've all still got default values. That's good, because we haven't, the ones with the white squares on, basically the ones that don't have the default value, which is 0. Yes, there we go. Commit. Move that left. And we can squeeze another block in there. I'll do that, then I'll pause it and make the rest. I'll show you what it looks like and make them for you. Where do we want? When do we want it? We want it now, and that's what we want. And just shunt it down. And I'm going to move this tower up a bit closer because it's up slightly off. Down, left, up a bit. Right. Close that. I'm going to push F2 to save. Quick save. F5 on here. And now we have towers with walls, or a tower with a wall. And I'm going to pause it and create the rest of the walls for you and get back to you. Right, so I've added the blocks, and we now have 4 towers and 4 walls. So if I hit F2, then come back to the client, hit F5, look around, you can see we now have, we can walk through because none of them have physics. When you add physics, it gets a bit interesting, because if you've made any of the bricks overlap, they will bounce. So you have to do some jogging. That's what the jog buttons are all about. Here we go. So that, you know how to add physics, right? You just come here and you just right click on something, and then you just do the physics thing right there. Close F2. Right, shall I do that? Physics. Don't have to close. Physics. 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 Pause in. Right, I've just added all the physics to all the buttons. Took me about 2 minutes. F2 to save. Come here. This will be interesting. Didn't try this, so hit F5. Hey, they're all still there. Sometimes if they overlap, if you accidentally made them overlap, they will. So we can jump on them now. You see? Oh, I didn't give that one physics. Well, that's a turtle. That's a bug, isn't it? Better fix that. Let's do that. So one of the towers I didn't give physics to. Not that one. There. See? And that's all you have to do. Make sure I did it with that one. No, didn't give the towers any physics. There you go. Close. F5. It's not a bug. Oh no, not F5. F2. Now do F5. Now we can jump on the towers, right? Yes. And we can call some carnage. And we can jump on these ones as well, because I give these physics. So, bye. Let's destroy the castle. This is the fun bit. Once you've made it all, you don't want to. Oh yeah, that's so satisfying. You can add damage to them, but I'm not going to bother with you. I'll tell you how to do it in a second. Well, you've done all that. You think, oh, I just made all that. No, I've just broken it all. We'll just hit F5. Oh, what? So you're back again? Yep. There we are. Oh, there we go. So how do I add damage? It's 22 minutes, but I'm just a quick add damage. Add damage. So you right click and you go max damage. 0 means unbreakable, 1 means breaks like thin glass, 1,000,000 means it's pretty much unbreakable, but it will eventually break. So any value greater than 0, it will break eventually. So we'll give it a value of 1. Right, pause in. I'll give everything a value of 1 max damage. Right, I've given everything a value of 1 max damage, and what I'm talking about, if you missed it, is this thing here. You see? This one here, max damage 1 means it will break like glass, and I've given everything that value. So F2, yep, thank you very much. F5. Now if we shoot stuff, they'll explode. They're very weak. Oh, there we are. Thank you for watching. Wobbegong XMP will be released quite soon, and look forward to your feedback. Thanks for sticking with it. Bye.